I'm a dude, and I'm inviting you to join me on a podcast about brews.
Does that include stouts?
Yes, of course it includes stouts. Like I was saying, join us every Saturday on the journey into...
Wait a minute. Do you guys do anything about like IPAs?
Yes,
Stuff like that?
yes, we do IPAs.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, join us on the Journey into Comics Network for Brews with Dudes.
Whoa, hey, have you guys ever... Do you care if I bring some Zima on?
Yes, I care if you bring Zima. Zima doesn't count. Zima's... Dr. Dongo. Anyway, join us every Saturday for a podcast that delves into the craft brew world.
The following
Journey into Comics.
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 Network.
Production.
Yes, it all started out as a mild curiosity in the junkyard. Now it's turned out to be quite a great spirited adventure.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
You're calling the butler. I'm very partial to tea and muffins.
What's wrong with being childish? I like being childish.
Before I go, I just want to tell you were fantastic.
Never trust a hug. It's just a way to hide your face.
That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
Why are you pointing your screwdrivers like that? They're scientific instruments, not water pistols.
GallifRadio! Yes, this must be where I live.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of GallifRadio. It's episode 3. I am your host, Nate. Today, joining me, as always, my companions, Veronica. Welcome back.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. A little tired. Been a busy day.
A little wiped from the week.
Yeah, it's been a long week.
It's been the longest week, and I mean that because we're behind on this recording.
Yes, it has been a very long week. We apologize for
But
that.
it is still release day. We're still getting this out to you on GallifRadio Friday. Also joining us today, welcome back, Miss Sarah. How are you?
I'm here.
Yeah, you are here. I'm glad you're here today. How's it going?
It's okay. I'm busy playing piano all the time.
You have the blue TARDIS cable on your mic.
Oh, on the mic.
She's
it's
like looking around.
I did. I looked at the floor.
It is the freshly repaired mic cable Dad just returned to us.
Oh,
so I just wanted
thanks,
to
Jim
utilize
Phillips.
Yeah, shout out to his birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, it is his birthday.
We said happy birthday first.
Yeah, we have to say
Happy
it.
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. So, all right, well, girls, we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. As I said, we are running a little bit behind, so we're going to manically get through this one today. It might
Sounds
be a little
good.
shorter.
Sounds good.
Right out of the gate, we've got a bunch of news. I want your guys' reaction to the news. There's a lot of stuff we're going to kind of get into here. First and foremost, we officially know when we're getting our first episode of Season 11 of Doctor Who, which means we also know how long we have to get you caught up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the total is... we are literally looking at like 3 weeks from Sunday.
3 weeks?
Yeah, October 7th is the debut of Doctor Who Season 11. Mm-hmm.
Everything happens in October.
I know. October's the best. It's also happening on a different day, right?
Yeah, you heard that right. I said Sunday. I didn't say Saturday. So for the first time in New Who history, it's a Sunday release. Which I think is going to give it some extra room to breathe. You know, they were competing with some other Saturday night primetime shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this will give them room to really kind of take over the BBC on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know what the rating is like, viewership ratings are like over there. I just know that in the U.S., usually when there's a show that is airing on a Saturday, it's a show that nobody watches. Or like, how they call like the Friday night time slot, like the slot of death, because nobody's home on Friday and Saturday nights to watch these shows. So, I mean, all of the really good TV that I've watched over the years has always been on a Sunday. So it makes perfect sense for them to have this move.
So here's some numbers. This is from season 10 of Doctor Who. And these numbers are in the millions, so I'm just going to be breaking them down in smaller digits. I won't say million every time. Okay. So the pilot of the episode 10, or season 10, was 6.68. Then the next episode was a 5.98, then a 5.61, 5.73. So it's in the fives. It dips all the way down to 4.82 and like towards the end of the series, and then picks back up to 5.29 for the finale. So,
well, yeah, the finales always get larger viewings.
So
it just seemed like ratings have been declining.
Yeah, and it seems like if they can increase those numbers from the 5 million to that upper 6 million, like that first episode of this season, they were almost at a 7 easily. 7 million viewers, but they didn't quite hit it.
Of this most recent season?
Of season 10, yeah.
Okay, well, I haven't watched that, so I have no opinion on that.
Correct,
Sorry.
absolutely.
Right.
I still have to catch up. I'm a little behind. How far behind am I? We just finished...
Season 8.
Season
so
8.
You're getting ready to start 9, and 9 will move very fast. It is a much quicker season, and then 10, I also believe, is a much quicker season.
How many episodes per season of these?
Well, 12 for the regular episodes plus your Christmas special, meaning 13. So you have 26 episodes to go.
Well, I feel like that's doable before October, maybe.
Yeah. If we start...
I don't know. I've got a really busy couple of weeks coming up.
Yeah, we've got weddings and things and
yeah,
stuff.
My little sister's getting married.
Crazy.
We have a ton of shows for our band booked, and got a lot of exciting things happening. So I don't know when I'm going to have time to catch up on Doctor Who.
I guess the nice thing is we can always take the laptop to the wedding. And just like bring the hard drive and watch Doctor Who that way.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we'll be busy.
Yeah.
We'll be busy, but
we'll be busy celebrating. But
you're right. I mean, when there's off time.
Yeah.
If there's off time. But
I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
So yeah, it's cool to see Doctor Who back on Sundays. Now I showed you guys this just a little bit ago before we got on air, but a former Doctor has returned. What?
Yeah, I will say, watching it. It was like watching the ghost of Doctor Who.
Oh, the
video
Eccleston video?
Yeah, Christopher Eccleston. He was looking like a dapper silver fox.
Ghoulish, yeah.
Oh, you think he was ghoulish?
Little,
I was like, oh, he's aging nicely.
Yeah. Oh, not in a bad way, just in a...
Yeah.
I couldn't stop staring at the seed that was on his tooth and then on his lip for the entire video.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It was driving me batshit crazy the entire video. I was like, oh my God.
Well, maybe we should explain what this video is. We haven't actually said what it was.
We're going to explain it, and then we'll go ahead and play it. So Christopher Eccleston did a really beautiful thing, and for a couple Doctor Who fans who are getting married, Blaine and Liam, he kind of came back into the character of Doctor Who, as it were.
For a video shout out.
And gave him a little message, and it's quite beautiful, and we are going to play that for you guys. You will be hearing it now. We'll briefly kind of talk over it a little bit as it's happening. I'll kind of describe. If you guys want to come around, you can. If not, I understand. We've already watched it. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and play this video.
Well, that's just typical, isn't it? Liam. Blaine. Liam. Blame. Blame's better, actually. Blame.
I have missed him.
You get married. You fall in love. You get married. You're really happy.
Kind of looks like Gordon Ramsay.
And me, the Doctor, who has saved the universe.
Hair. You're not used to
God
seeing
knows
that
how many
much
times.
Hair spiked up.
Doesn't get an invite.
And it's all great.
Doesn't.
I mean, I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean in a Gordon Ramsay way. I don't know.
Thank you. Typical of you apes, isn't it? Really?
Typical of you apes.
My two hearts are beating as one for you both today.
Yeah, it's like a fucking video message from a ghost.
Congratulations on your wedding day.
That's what I mean. I think I get the ghoul reference.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I won't be there in the blue box, but I will be there in spirit.
He's in a lovely little garden.
Yeah. I mean, it was sweet.
It was super nice.
Yeah.
Aw. Yeah, I missed him.
Yeah.
Now I just want to watch Rose.
Well, we can actually... This is kind of cool because we're following up on last episode where we talked a lot about Christopher Eccleston's one season as the Doctor.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he's back in Doctor Who character for the first time, like, ever.
Yeah.
Since he left.
He actually recently did an interview and he opened up about his decision to leave Doctor Who, saying it was kind of tragic to me that I didn't play him for longer. He's a beautiful character and I have a great deal of professional pride, and had I done a second season, there would have been a marked improvement in my performance. He says it's very important on a first series that you make a very informed and intelligent choice, even if it means breaking the budget. About getting the first director who is going to set the tone for the season, for the way the actors relate, that did not happen. Disaster. So he didn't really say why there was a disaster, but some people know there were some miscommunications with the production company and Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. Disagreements on wardrobe, things like that. He'd had enough. He wanted to do it. I wanted to do it my way. They wanted something else. we were never going to compromise, so it was best to be straight about it and just go.
Damn. Bummer.
And that whole thing, that rift in that bridge burned, kept him from being in the 50th and kept us having like this pure number of doctors, you know.
God, I was so disappointed. I really wanted to see him in that. I mean, didn't you see his face or something?
Yeah, because they did 2 parts where you see his face. The first time, as there's a video playing, lovely. I'm like, where the fuck am I hearing birds? It's on the video. Oh my god. Okay.
See, pay attention.
Where was I at? Were we talking about Eccleston?
Birds?
No,
birds.
It wasn't
that
birds.
I could think it was the birds.
Oh, you were saying about seeing his face on the 50th.
Yeah.
And you just beautifully segued me, so thank you. We're going to talk about the 50th, and then we'll keep going into that. So, speaking of Christopher Eccleston and the 50th, right? Mm-hmm. So you do see him twice. They use refound footage from the first season, and from a next trick, which is in the Bad Wolf episode, when he, and then they also do a shot where he's standing, but they actually had a different actor standing, and they just CGI'd his face in place to look like he was standing there.
Did he have to give them permission to use his likeness, or did they own the
negative?
Part
Because
of
they own the rights to that form of the Doctor. So as long as he was portrayed as that form of the Doctor,
did he get any kind of royalty from that?
I don't know. I'm not actually sure how that works.
That's tough. That's tough.
But I mean, considering that cameo is with all the other Doctors, and it's only for like 0.2 of a second in the final scene of the episode, and then
okay, well, if you were him, wouldn't you be fucking infuriated if they used your
No, because
face?
you know what? They asked him first to be in it, and he said no, and that's why we got John Hurt.
Yeah, I did know that.
So he didn't want any part of it, and John Hurt was awesome as the War Doctor, and it was a cool little creating a new form of the Doctor that's not really the Doctor, you know.
Isn't that kind of like asking without asking, though? Like, if you're like, well, we got these versions of the Doctor here, of Christopher Eccleston, so really he's going to be in it whether he likes it or not, but we'll ask him anyway. Like,
courtesy.
Yeah,
well, they asked him as a place of like, I'm sure this is probably how the phone conversation went down there.
Maybe they really wanted him to do it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure they did. Everybody
no, and they're
did.
like, well, then fuck this guy. We'll do it anyway.
Right.
I'm guessing.
It just seems like there's a bit of fuck this guy.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Let's just do it anyway.
When they rang him, I'm guessing that the conversation went something like, hey, we really want you back for the 50th. This is what we have to offer you. It's just like rolling about how you had to deal with the Time War and everything that went south with that. You'll be working with Billie Piper again, so you'll get some Rose interaction, but she won't really be Rose, blah, blah, kind of giving a little loose synopsis of what their play was. And he was probably like, I'm not really interested in returning the role. I've got other stuff coming up. I'm in Hollywood. Things are going down the pike for me, so I can't really do that. And they said, okay, well, since we have you here, just to let you know, there are a couple scenes we do have planned for the Ninth Doctor that's just going to be brief. We're going to use your stuff, and this is how we intend on doing that. Just want to let you know. I'm sure they weren't not forthright with him about it.
I mean, is that just your opinion or your version of what happened that you hope happened, or is that actually happened?
I'm saying the professionalism that I know that the BBC holds for anybody who's played the Doctor. Like, I mean, even how shitty Tom Baker was after leaving Doctor Who, and how nice they still are to him to this day.
So British.
They got shit on by Tom Baker in a lot of ways. He was very, ran away from that role and also couldn't escape that role all in the same token. It kind of brandished his career a little bit.
Do you think that happened to Christopher Eccleston?
Yes and no. I think he was already kind of on the way to being a made actor regardless.
Yeah.
But this was
He's a very talented actor.
Yes.
I really like him.
And
isn't he doing some didn't he just do a movie? Weren't you telling me that he was just in a movie?
We were talking about Thor.
Oh, yeah, because he did Thor the Dark World.
And he didn't want to do that.
He was Malekith.
Or I don't want to do it. Or what was it?
Wasn't
the
that he didn't
makeup
want to do
condition.
See, this is the difference between how Marvel and I'm guessing BBC works. So Marvel told Christopher Eccleston, look, we want you to be Malekith, the Dark Elf, for our Dark World story. There's all CGI and no makeup involved. And he was like, great, sign me up. And he showed up day one, and they're like, you have 12 and a half hours of makeup.
Nuh-uh.
He had so much makeup. It was all prosthetics.
100% prosthetic. I mean, they had his ears
100%
pinned
makeup,
back.
everything, head to
Oh,
toe.
I bet he was so mad.
So that's why he will never return.
And he
as
barely had
Malekith.
any lines. He just stands there in this makeup, just glaring.
And then when he
It's
does,
so terrible.
and when he does speak, he also speaks in the dark elf language, so it's all translated. So he's not even speaking like human roles.
He's not even speaking any language.
I mean, that's not the character you want to be in a Marvel movie. You know?
Oh, that movie was bad.
Now check this out. I'm going to tie it all back together.
I don't even remember that character.
Because as
That
we were
movie
talking
was
about,
so bad.
we were talking about the Ninth Doctor, and you were talking about him being in the 50th.
Mhm.
I was also bringing up Tom Baker and his discord for Doctor Who.
Mhm.
So here's the funny thing: Doctor Who's Tom Baker reveals what he did not like about the 50th anniversary. This article was just recently published.
Was it that he wasn't in it? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, he was in it though. He was the great curator.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So, back in 2013, Doctor Who celebrated the fan favorite 50th. Special episode saw the Fourth Doctor back as a special guest appearance. Now he's opening up about his experience, and he turns out he didn't have the best experience on the day of the Doctor set. Recent interview with Cinema Blend, Baker revealed that only one member of the episode's cast was welcome to him, and that was Matt Smith. So that means Tennant didn't talk to him, John Hurt didn't talk to him. That's yikes. Matt Smith is a darling young man. He made me very welcome. But he was the only one who welcomed me. I drove through the night to Cardiff, and Matt Smith came seeking me out, so full of joy, so happy to see me. He made it very, very easy acting with him, and I'm so glad he's going on to tumultuous success. Nobody else bothered with me at all. I was a bit netted by that all.
Yeah, who was saying that?
Tom Baker.
Oh, Tom Baker.
Four.
Tom Baker. That is a little strange to me.
He also says that he did not like how the guy that produced it, he says, I didn't like his approach to anything very much. His approach as a producer to the scripts and to my performance, he managed somehow how terrible to diminish me. He made assumptions about how I should do things or what lines meant or how it should be shot, which diminished me, and I found that unbearable.
Ooh, unbearable.
Man,
How British.
Very much so.
Harsh.
Here's some new news for the new series, going back to where we started in our news section here. Did you guys know that, and I want your train of our existence, bring out the rage, because Jodie Whittaker will have 0 battles against any classic monsters. No Daleks, no Cybermen, nothing.
You know what? I don't feel rage when I think about that. I actually am kind of excited about that.
Me too.
Honestly,
Talk about
because like, how many more stories can we have about the Daleks?
No shit.
Like, and how many more times can it be, oh shit, the Cybermen did it? You know, like, I mean, it's always clever in its own way, but like,
and it's nostalgic when they do reappear.
Yeah, but like at this point, I'm like, okay, if I have another like major Dalek story, I'm going to feel almost ripped off by the first story. Because the first story is so powerful. Speaking about Christopher Eccleston.
No kidding.
You know?
Absolutely.
Like, that's like such a
They
powerful
could have stopped
story.
it right then.
Dalek, and then the Bad Wolf / parting
Yeah,
of
the way they
ways.
make you almost feel bad for the Daleks when you don't technically, quote unquote, you don't know them. They're assuming the audience, since it was the reboot, didn't know anything about Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the naivety.
Yeah, they assume you don't know nothing about it, and then you get to meet this creature, and like Rose feels bad, and you're on the journey with Rose. You know, everybody's on the journey with the companions, and then it's like when it finally happens, and you realize what the creatures are and all that. Like, you just go on that journey with them, and then it's like it's cheap shots. It feels like cheap shots after
Right.
that, you know? Like,
It's like
nostalgia's
the sequel,
fine.
The sequel.
And then, then they get the new armor, or not new armor, you know what I mean? Like when they were the colors.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's colors now. Like, I feel like this is pop vinyls all
The
over
Supreme
again. You know, like
Dalek.
I'm on a ride. I don't
think
know
that-
where it's going.
I feel like the Daleks are almost kind of like the reverse Flash of the Doctor Who verse, because technically speaking, they're always going back in time to try to stop the Doctor, so they're always scattered throughout time and space always. And yes, I know what you're saying. No way. Rose said, I take all of you throughout all of time and space, and I divide you. And it's like, like just full of woe and vigor and whatnot. So
Yeah.
that moment's awesome, and then you get the the Cult of Skaro and the Return
Yeah,
of the Daleks.
I'm okay with that one too because it was tied to that story.
Okay.
It was an offshoot of that.
And then the third time you see him, where the Daleks take Manhattan again.
Was that the 20s themed one?
That was one with the dude that had the
I remember.
The one eye.
And it had the little flapper girl.
Yeah.
Who kept, like, fawning over. What was her boyfriend's name? Like Luigi or something weird?
No, it was.
No, I can't remember the girl's name
it's
either.
An L. It's an L. Let me look.
Laszlo.
Laszlo. Luigi. Laszlo.
Yeah, the pig people.
Laszlo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Oh,
I can't do the voice.
Laszlo.
I have a cold.
Laszlo. Yeah.
But no, I think it's cool and clever to not have her go up against classic villains because it forces people to be outside the box of what you expect in Doctor Who.
Right.
If they put a Dalek or a Cyberman in the season, oh, well, I expected that. They got to have her rub up against the Cyberman at some point, you know?
How exciting to have a brand new iteration of the Doctor with brand new adventures and companions and villains. And
a different
it's
perspective.
Like a total reboot of this show. That's how I want to go into it. Like, it's going to be totally different.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
And look at, this is not the first time they've done not all new villains, but how many new villains, was in like the last season, you know?
Too many.
Too many. It was
I wouldn't know about that.
Every episode, I think there was a new
Well, we
villain.
told you, there's a lot of they're all like dark episodes like that.
Yeah, Stephen Moffat definitely takes season 10, and this is not in any way a spoiler. This is just like the tone. His season 10 is very much like horror / monster heavy driven. So he really gets that dark stuff that he always wanted to tell out. Which
I like that.
I like Stephen Moffat as a showrunner, and I like his
yeah.
other shows. I love Sherlock. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which we still haven't finished that either.
On the list.
Yeah, it's on the list.
It's 3 hours of stuff we'll have to do at some point for 2 episodes.
Well, I'm looking forward to it
Me
at some
too.
point.
Sorry, Sarah. Didn't
Well,
mean to kick
Castle
that.
Rock sucked us in. So.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God, Castle Rock is. We finally
Speaking
get to
of
watch
horror.
the finale today. When we're done, season finale is aired on last Wednesday.
And then we need to do Castle Talk, I'm telling you.
Castle Talk.
Yeah.
Is that going to be
TM, yeah. I fucking heard it here first. Journey into Comics Network.
Maybe
on
it could be a
GallifRadio.
Patreon exclusive.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Patreon exclusive event, one-off event.
Yeah, I like that. We'll get
recap
into
the
that.
whole season.
That's
a good idea.
Yeah, we're riffing
Yeah.
right now, but that's fine. I'm into it.
Okay, let's reel it in.
So let's reel it in back to what we were already talking about. We were already kind of doing this a little bit, but today's whole purpose for this episode 3, is discussing our favorite villains. And we were already kind of doing that, talking about the Daleks and their history in the modern series. Obviously, the Daleks start at Genesis of the Daleks. Well, no, actually, I mean, they start at the very beginning.
I'm sorry. Are you saying that the Daleks are your favorite?
No.
Oh, I thought that's what we were
No,
saying.
I'm saying that we were already talking about villains that are iconic to speak about. So we can now kind of discuss what our favorites are, and I'm going to get into that in a second. I was just mentioning that the Daleks are kind of the most storied history. They start in the very first episode of Doctor Who, or at the very beginning of Doctor Who. And, you know, they go throughout time. You have Tom Baker having maybe one of the most legendary stories in Genesis of the Daleks. That kind of sets up the reason, the birth of Davros and all this amazing how do they say that word? Canography, yeah, where you like canonize your story.
Canonography? I don't know, actually.
I'm not sure. It's a weird one.
Thanks, Internet.
Yeah, thanks, Internet. I'm not going to look it up either. But anyways, let's get down to it. V, let's start with you. Favorite villain? I mean, if you want to start, you can start with me. I'll start. I don't mind.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I think I don't know what my favorite villain would be, but if I had to pick one, I would say that the one villain that actually seemed like a horrific, scary villain, besides the Weeping Angels, was the Silence.
Mm-hmm.
The Silence was probably the most memorable villain for me, other than Daleks. It's the Silence.
Silence first appearing on Day of the Moon, season 6.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was so creepy.
In the bathroom.
Yeah, and the whole like we've always been here, we'll always be here.
The thought of a villain being in the room with you and you completely forget that you even saw it. Like once you look away from it, you forget that it even was there. So like that's
like that lady in the
horrifying
bathroom, you know, like when they're in there.
Wow,
and
that was so creepy.
Yeah.
That was a really creepy idea for a villain.
Yeah, that's a creepy one.
And the resolve for that first thing with the Silence is so clever as well, because you had them utilize the actual moon landing as a way to like disrupt the system and get everybody honed in that the silence even exist.
Yeah. Doctor Who's weird.
But then the more fucked up part about the silence, if we're going to kind of go into that, the thing that I really love about the silence is what they mean by they've been there since the beginning. Season 5, when Matt Smith starts, him and Prisoner Zero has escaped. They discuss the silence, but it's not in the same reference. You almost forget that it's spoken. Right. And it's like a teaser that it's coming. And then the biggest reveal is that the whole crack, the whole thing, Christmas, Matt Smith's big grand finale, the crack led back to the silence, and they've always been there.
That's why it's like such an epic fucking villain.
Yeah,
that's my pick.
That's a good one.
I totally agree with you, Sarah. What are your thoughts on villain?
Well, the silence is at the top for me. Yeah, for sure. The Weeping Angels to a certain extent, but they don't actually kill you. I mean, they kill you.
We didn't know that right away.
Yeah,
we didn't know that for a long time, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're creepy or whatever. Don't get me wrong, like they're pretty creepy. But so yeah, I would say those are probably like, you know, of the big ones, the top ones. But I have a couple of like B-sides.
Oh, please bring them to my attention.
That are really creepy to me. One is that the whole thing with the waters of Mars, with the water,
and it just
turns people, and there's one drop and it gets in you and then you turn into them, that whole thing. And like that's like one of those real world, like, oh, if there was like an alien that was a microscopic kind of alien, like host style, like that could be a real thing, you know. And they never really explain what it is. They just leave you hanging on it. And that's the other one that is my other B-side, is whatever the hell was happening in the episode on Midnight when he's on the train to it was in Donna's season, David Tennant, and like there was that possession thing and the woman gets possessed. Remember the
and they're all turning against
planet
each other.
Midnight. That's made of diamonds. They're on the.
The diamond one. Yeah. They were on the train. Yeah.
It was like the like the Lord of the Flies kind of reference thing.
It's the Donna Light episode of that
season. Yes, it's the one where she's hanging out at home. Yeah.
And then on the flip, the very next episode's turn left.
Yeah, and then it possesses the Doctor, and they never explain that one either. He's just like, I don't ever want to see that again. Like he was freaked out.
That was
like,
a good episode.
That was one of my favorite, like scary, like like that's, I guess, like the space stuff, like the unknown space, like is more scary to me than like the man-made things, or like even like the Daleks, because they're not really man-made, but you know, like I don't know, the stuff that has no explanation, that's just like,
I think that my villain pick comes from a place of chaotic evil. MASTER.
Oh, the Master.
Because man, the history of the Master.
Which iteration, just in general?
Honestly, okay, so technically speaking, Derek Jacobi, he plays the fifth Master. He was the Professor Yana in season 3. He's brief. I do like his portrayal because he doesn't come off as the Master, because he doesn't know it's that whole fob watch thing they had introduced earlier with Human Nature, Family of Blood, where the Master doesn't realize it's himself.
Ooh, those are good villains too.
But
Family of Blood.
Oh yes. Oh, the Family of Blood's fucking.
Those are
dope.
good ones. Yeah, that was a good one.
The Scarecrow, yeah, but no, honestly, John Sims is the best Master for me. Like the ultimate Master, the ultimate iteration. His go with Tennant, not once but twice, is like, honestly, pretty legendary how they did that. I mean, he was there for the end of 10's story, and just beautifully done. And there's a lot of scenes that have made me cry in Doctor Who, but the fucking scene where the Doctor's holding the Master as he like lets himself die because he doesn't want to regenerate, just like crushing. Because it's like 10 has realized, it's just me now officially. I am the last Time Lord. There is no one else here. What the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah. But then didn't he come back?
Yes.
The Master was so pleased as he was dying.
Oh, and Missy.
Causing so much pain. John Sim is almost too adorable for me as the Master. Like, he's just so cheeky.
Will you pull up a picture of him?
Yeah, sure, of course. Actually, I'm going to pull up my favorite picture of John Sim as the Master.
He's just got that face. I'm like, I can't take you seriously. And then I'm like, oh, I get sucked in. But Missy is way more like
was
the
so over
original
the top.
Master. Like, remember
Drama.
Yeah, with the cape. And
From the
the
episode, or
the
old one.
Yeah, when we were watching like
the first
Third
Master.
Doctor. Yeah, when we were watching like the Third Doctor.
Okay, so I asked Nate to pull up a picture of him, and he pulled up a picture of him, but his face is almost entirely covered by a mask.
Oh, you want to see his face? I was bringing up a funny picture because this makes me think of season 3 when he gasses those people when he's getting ready to take over.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with his face being too adorable to be the Master.
He's adorable. Now I remember who the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yep.
He's excellent. And of course, Missy was a great iteration of the Master as well.
Drama.
Roger Delgado, Terror of the Autons. We brought that up last episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't talk too much about Missy, though.
No, correct. There's
'cause
spoilers.
I don't want to spoil anything about Missy. I really don't. One of my favorite things happens with that timeline.
Yes.
In Doctor Who, and I will not spoil it.
What season?
Because I was so pleased.
It's 9 and 10 both.
Oh, okay.
There's more to come.
Yeah, I can't say anything
I'll catch
without danger of spoiling it, but one of my favorite things is coming.
Well, we'll talk about that when I catch up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've kind of talked about some of the favorite episodes from the different villains. What are your guys' least favorite villains? What villains are just like, oh my gosh, this is boring, I'm kind of over it? What villains, this is an alternate way to look at this, have not aged well with the series? There are some of these older villains they've kind of brought back out of the thing. And are there any of those that are in your head that you go, man, that I think they thought that was cool, but it wasn't really that cool?
I've never been terribly impressed with Cybermen.
Really?
Like, the threat of the Cybermen, just their look always felt a little cheesy to me, like hard to believe that I need to be terrified of that they're like this insane, like evil villain.
Yeah.
They're more just like, I think I saw this in a 50s movie, which is fine. There's a time and a place for that, but I get tired of having to see so many Cybermen stories, I guess.
Yeah. I have one.
Bring it up, Sarah.
The Autons.
You don't think the Autons aged well?
No,
I don't like their paper mache heads.
Well, I mean, think about the original Autons, how goofy it was.
True, with the weird, like almost like salami face mask that just like kind of was translucently covering
like
the
that
face.
Yeah, like that. Well, that's people probably don't know that movie either. That Frank movie, Frank.
Oh God, Frank is. Such a
they
good
looked
movie.
like that with the big like circus, like Mardi Gras heads on. Like. I'm not taking that seriously. I mean, but that was more terrifying to me. Those little dudes with Tommy guns or whatever they had, than like the first season, with Mickey and all of that, like the Autons there, like that.
The plastiques.
That was silly.
It was meant to be campy.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to take it seriously. Mm-hmm. I think that.
I didn't like what ended up happening with what were they called? The Ooh or something?
The Ood.
Yeah, the Ood.
They're
not really.
I felt so
they're
bad for
frenemies.
them.
They're frenemies.
They're frenemies, but I felt bad at how their storyline progressed.
Yeah,
it's a sad story.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Ice Warriors didn't progress brilliantly with time. Every time I watched
Ice Warriors.
No, but it was like watching the Ice Warrior story in 2015 or whenever it was with Matt Smith's season. I think that was 7, actually, Cold War. That episode made me kind of go, well, this is just a fucking aliens story. Mm-hmm. And it's just like an exoskeleton and then it's aliens. Like, okay, so what? Mm-hmm. And it took I guess it kind of took it away from me. It wasn't a bad episode. It just definitely wasn't my favorite.
What is like your least favorite Doctor Who episode? Or do you have any that come to mind that you actively skip over and don't plan on rewatching?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Oh.
Actually, we'll talk about it now. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a good segue.
Good, but I have one more thing in this villain section that we want to make sure to get to because we had some fan responses. Should we get to those first and then respond to that question?
Why not?
So, we had a couple fan responses. I said, "What are your favorite villains? Favorite villain episodes?" And Keegan from Keegan and Friends said The Silence, we discussed.
Oh, shit.
But this one we did not discuss. The Vashta Narada.
Ooh, how did I miss that?
Talk about a creepy fucking villain. Silence in the Library.
That's one of my favorites. Those are creepy.
That was creepy.
Donna Noble has left the library. Donna Noble has been saved.
Now that's a different part of it being creepy.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with the Vashta Narada.
But still.
That just whole thing was creepy.
Absolutely.
On its own, the whole Cal thing and all.
That's Stephen Moffat firing on
That
all
was such a
cylinders.
weird episode.
Birth the creation of River Song.
So
But I know, so brilliant with what they do with River Song.
Yeah.
And do you know, when that episode first came out, the people that I watched it with were convinced people would say that they were never going to bring River Song back as a character. They said, oh no, that's just a one-off, she was just here, I don't really like that, she's not going to be anything,
you
whatever.
Didn't think they were planting seeds, or they didn't think they were planting seeds?
They're totally that's what they do in this
series 4, when series 4 was happening, they were already courting Moffat to be showrunner, because Russell T was still showrunner.
Yeah.
So it was all set up. He creates River Song knowing that's a character I can pull back and utilize when I'm the showrunner, if it actually happens. And, I mean, the rest is history, so.
Timey-wimey.
Yeah, we have Andrew D. Gable saying, the Crinoids in Seeds of Doom. That's an old school. I think that's like a 3rd or 5th Doctor, Seeds of Doom, 4th Doctor. I'll have to look that up. He says, even though technically they weren't really the villains, it was more kind of the botanist guy whose name I can't remember.
Yeah. I was like that. Yeah.
Crinoids. Wow, I haven't heard of I haven't talked about the crinoids in a while. Okay, so we've got several responses. I shared this on a couple different places. Claire Pedersen says, definitely John Sims as the master, especially in the end of time.
Yeah.
Scariest bit I ever saw on TV was the morphing into him. Everyone morphing into him, even Obama.
Yeah,
that was disturbing.
Wayne Edwards says the master every time, especially when played by Roger Delgado. And I was just like, hey, we just talked about that on
Drama.
Terry the Autons. Old school Cyberman David Michael Brooks says Yeti Underground and the Sea Devils. Yeti in the Underground and the Sea Devils. Both great. Yeah.
They never brought back the Sea Devils, did they? I feel like they referenced it somewhere.
They reference it in like the episode where the Doctor and Martha are underground, the crab people.
Yeah.
He talks about like fighting the sea devils.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that was a weird episode.
I knew it was in there
so
somewhere.
Many weird episodes.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Lewandowski says favorite villain of all time, the Celestial Toymaker. Which I don't recall the Celestial Toymaker, so I got to do a little Google search here.
Celestial Toymaker? Is that from like? Do you know what season it's from? What era of Who?
Oh wow, yeah. He's.
I need to see it again.
He's the Celestial. It's a part of a mostly missing serial.
Oh, wow.
Played by Jerry Davis.
I didn't see that.
He's missed 3 episodes of his 6 are missing from season 3, so it was a first Doctor story.
Oh, okay.
So interesting. The Celestial Toymaker. That's a classic.
I'll have to.
Yeah, he looks really cool too.
I agree.
Like, he looks like
he almost looked Gallifreyan a little bit, like with his garb there. I did pull up a random wiki before we go to this next portion here that V asked me. Real quick, our random wiki for the day is Draxus. The Draxus was a race of space leeches.
Are you serious?
The woman in white was holding them on board her ship, but they escaped. They sapped the life of creatures and they converted people into vampire creatures. From the audio Woman in White, because there are BBC audios.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into the audio.
Crazy though, because not spelled the same, but I had a band called Draxus.
Yeah, you did.
Draxsis, not Draxus.
How funny.
So that was I was a little bit.
That is random, isn't it?
That is a little strange.
A little taken back by that. Veronica, you said what's my least favorite or worst episode? In my opinion, episode I actively skip. The Unquiet Dead is that episode. I fucking loathe that boring, nearly pointless episode of Doctor Who. I'm pretty sure from the second season.
Refresh my memory. I don't remember.
The one with the Gelth.
The Gelth. They're the spirits.
In the funeral home.
It's in the 1800 funeral home.
They keep possessing bodies.
And
the main actress is the person who plays Gwen on Torchwood.
Yeah. She's
She's
Gwyneth.
like a little like peasant girl, big eyes, and she like sees ghosts, and they go into the oil lamps and stuff. But it's like a funeral parlor.
Yeah, it's ringing a bell.
Yeah,
I've watched a lot of Doctor Who in like a short period of time, so they all kind of blend together.
It's an old one.
It was the third episode of the first season.
Yeah, it's a Christopher Eccleston.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's one where they go back in time.
Like it?
They go back to like the 1800s.
Here's the oh shit. You all right?
I just bumped my mic. I'm fine.
All right, cool. But that's when like there's the Doctor and Rose, and then there's the spirits that are getting let out of this lady. Because she like...
Why do I feel like I remember liking this episode?
I think you did. I remember Nate saying he didn't like it, and you were like, why don't you like this episode?
I'm looking at these pictures, and I totally fucking liked it.
It was not my jam.
It was my jam. I remember liking it. I grew up in a funeral home, so it's
that's
definitely my jam.
I was surprised you didn't remember it because of that. Yeah.
Well, I'm terrible with names. Like he just spouts off all of these fucking episode titles like he just has a backlog in his brain.
Well, he's the Rain Man.
I know, and I can't do that. Like you just look at me like I'm stupid. I'm like I can't remember all of these episode titles. I'm sorry.
Darling, I don't look at you like you're stupid. It's not about that. I look at you from a place of like, I know I have a crazy memory, so I'm just trying to give you like what's in my head, like this part and then this part. Like hopefully you'll jog your memory, but I'm also kind of bad at clues, as you guys have told me with my terrible sign language.
Yeah. That's why I ask you to just show me pictures online so I can see what you're talking about.
He's the king of pantomiming. Anyways. So The Unquiet Dead. Nate doesn't like that episode. Veronica likes
we should
it.
watch it again.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'm on the fence about it. I don't know.
Well, I can't remember it that well, so I wouldn't mind watching it again and then giving you an updated opinion.
Listen, compared to my choice, it's going to be...
What was your choice?
Way better comparison. My choice is Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Oh,
God damn it, that's a terrible episode.
That was a terrible
really
episode.
Thought that was so forced.
You know what?
Just so bad. I could not... like. And,
can I change mine?
Matt Smith was a Matt Smith one, and he was
with
adorable in it with the ponds
and the pond father.
And you can't say they didn't do their best with the material, but I just think that was a poorly written episode, and that just was like, well, we're going to execute this as good as we can here.
I'm going to change my choice for least favorite episode because she just jogged my memory. She said Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, right alongside it, A Town Called Mercy.
Oh, I don't like that one either.
That
was
a stinker
weird,
of an episode.
depressing.
The fucking like cyborg in the Wild Wild West, and he was trapped there.
Yeah, I did not like that at all.
It was so bad. And it's so sad. That season kicked off with Asylum of the Daleks, and that is such a badass episode. The fucking
where
first time we see
reset
Clara
the Daleks pretty much.
Yeah. And like, and it's just.
Peter Capaldi had some rough material to work with on season 8.
I can't even remember the episode titles.
God, there was like Moon 1949 or 2049 where it was
There's been a lot of good ones on the back half of season 8. That was really good, but the first couple of them were clunkers, and that I'm reminded because you said the dinosaur one.
Land of the Lost, right? That was the first Capaldi where the dinosaurs just and then Strax, Vastra, and Jenny are there.
Yeah.
But he's kind of... Were you just clapping?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I thought it was the cats. I was like, where are they? How'd they get in here?
They're not here.
Okay, good. You've tricked me.
They've been banned from the studio.
I don't know why they would be tapping in rhythm.
I don't know. Maybe they're clever. Cammy could have been reaching on the box. So anyways, we wanted to do a little segment before we got out of here that was heavily inspired by AP and I having a conversation on one of the early posts of GallifRadio. I need to probably look up here. But it was essentially him saying that an episode was bad, and then me saying, that episode's not that bad. It's not as bad as The Unquiet Dead, in my opinion, blah, blah, blah. So I thought it'd be funny to pit 2 episodes together and just determine which one is the worst of the worst.
Okay. Well, are you going to talk about the 2 that you were just talking about?
We can. Did you want to throw one into the mix and we can do worst of the worst of the worst? Or do you want to be moderator?
I think I'll be moderator only because I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sarah,
in future, I need to have homework assignments for podcasts.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I have a lot going on, so I need to prep for something like that.
Sarah,
so I know what I'm talking about.
What do you find in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship that is so bad that it's unbearable?
Well, there's a lot of things, but I'm going to choose that it's called Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, and there's nothing but dinosaurs on a spaceship. Like, that's just kind of how it felt to me. Like, it was very, and we have some historical characters. And we're like, and it was just cheap. It was cheaply written. Okay. I don't even remember the resolve of it. I know there was some guy, like, that he ended up having some sort of showdown with that was behind all of it. And it just was kind of like, it just felt like filler on an album.
Isn't Dinosaurs on this... I got my timeline fucked up, so I'm not sure here, but nope, that was the season before. Never mind. We're the miniature people. Where they miniaturize, and the doctor was in like he was miniaturized inside of a body of the doctor.
Oh yeah, wasn't that where they was? No, I'm thinking of when they met Clara.
Yeah, Clara.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna change my answer yet again to a least favorite because I forgot that
oh my
this
God.
is absolutely. But this one wins it for me because Dinosaurs on a Spaceship is just Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. At least that has like an honest story where the doctor is just like with the pawns and like at least you can give a little bit of credit to the story because the pawn dad is pretty funny, like in the episode fawning over the doctor and being so excited to travel in time and space. But you know what wasn't fun or exciting? Girl in the Fireplace.
Man, everybody hates on that episode. Madame de Pompadour.
Madame de Pompadour, the doctor fucking just leaves Rose and Mickey on a spaceship to die. He crashes through. If I break this mirror, there's no way around it. It's over. I'm going to break this mirror with my fucking horse and leave you stuck, stranded in the middle of space with no way home. I mean, granted, he figures it out and like fucking ends up saving him and whatnot, but like ultimately, it's a it's a stupid doctor decision. Like, yeah, you got the Clockwork Men that show up in that episode, which that's a fucking corny villain. Oh, they're just gears. You know, like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But it was just, to me, it wasn't the best. I think that's maybe the weakest of Modern Who, actually.
I don't know. It's like he makes a stupid decision, but that's why he says all the time now, am I a good man? Right?
Okay.
He does make stupid decisions all the time. A lot of time, you know, I mean, there's lots of destruction.
He never answers why he's a good man. He's always asking because he makes these decisions.
Yeah. So that's like he's and it's also like showing or shining a light on, I should say, what happens when you make any sort of decision when you are in infatuation, when you're in love for the first time and you have the fumes around you, you know, you make different kinds of decisions, you make snap decisions. And that was what the whole episode was about, was his love for Rose, or his love for this, new, woman that has come along. And it was that whole push and pull.
Lust.
That's what a lot of people, I think, got turned off, as they weren't looking at it like that, and then they find all these body parts. I mean, that whole thing was kind of creepy when they were, they start to find all of that stuff on the ship. And I like that they did the callback later. I don't remember which episode it was, way later season, where they did a callback to that.
I can't think
that
of
monster,
it though.
That villain.
I actually think that was in the 50th.
It was way later.
Or something,
I know
that
he
says some of these were just gears once, or I dealt with one of you lot that were just gears or some shit. He says
there was some
he brushes
villain
past it.
I don't remember what it was.
See, I'm
but
not always Rolodex.
They referenced it later. But yeah, Girl in the Fireplace gets a little bit of a bad rap for that, because that's the reason behind, I would say anyways, my assessment of the reason why the writers would write it that way, why they would write him making that decision.
It also makes the heartbreak of what actually happens to the Doctor and Rose later even more heartbreaking, because he left her there as a choice, and then he loses her there, not as a choice.
That's right. And those are those things you don't pay attention to when you're just watching it as a TV show, but then that's what sticks with you about those writings.
Will you just raise her fucking hand? Cause
I was about to.
Girl in the Fireplace is
it's an integral episode.
It does, even though I don't want it to be. And Dinosaurs on a fucking Spaceship is just...
It's just dinosaurs on a spaceship.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like,
how can you try to compare, an important, storytelling episode with dinosaurs on a spaceship?
Oh, and then let's not even talk about the love triangle sort of dynamic with Mickey being involved in that episode. And Mickey gets left behind as her protector, quote unquote, and it just
like shit to protect her.
But yeah, so there's that whole dynamic at play as well. And then the doctor's not coming back for you, he gets all sassy about it, and he gets brave and sassy like he does, and then Doctor comes sauntering in, and then they have more of that beef after that because Mickey was so convinced that they were going to die. He was going to leave him there.
Listen, all I ever need to know about Mickey is from the very first fucking episode I saw him
clinging to her leg, clinging and cowering. Mm-hmm. It's like precious and adorable.
He's holding onto Rose's waist for dear life on his knees.
That gives Mickey, and we're going to have a whole episode on companions.
What a twat.
Because but Mickey's story arc, he shifts so pragmatically in that second season because when they go through the void and they end up on Other Earth and Mickey sees Ricky and his gran is not dead and he and that's...
May he rest in peace, Ricky.
Ricky, poor Ricky.
Poor Ricky. Alas.
No, but I'm the real Ricky. Anyways, Veronica, we're going to decide that Dinosaurs on a Spaceship is just Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, for which is worse this week. So next time we do this, we're going to have to come up with some more bad episodes.
Which is worse?
Which is worse? I've actually got a couple of news pieces that I did forget. We do have the first episode title for Jodie Whittaker's first episode.
Oh.
Do you guys want to hear it?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to say it, and I'm also going to say a piece of news that follows this. So, The Woman Who Fell to Earth is the episode title, The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, Chris Chibnall and company has all said that the Doctor will not personally reference or make note that she is now a she at all this season. But the first episode is called The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Mm-hmm. So some kind of woman is falling to Earth that's isn't
not
the Doctor.
Correct, hot take.
So they're just saying, it's not going to be, oh my gosh, I'm a woman, look at this. Like, they're not going to make it some
There's not going to be a
thing.
honk joke or anything like that.
I hope they at least make a nod to it, how they were this is an opposite of a nod, I guess, but when he was always disappointed he's not ginger.
Yes.
Or the fact that he has, weird ears.
Yeah.
Did he make a reference about that?
Yeah, I hope they at least do some sort of nod to the appearance, but it doesn't necessarily have to be about it. A male-female thing, just about the difference in the appearance.
I feel like we just watched a movie. This has nothing to do with that. We just watched that movie Ocean's 8.
Yeah.
The Sandra Bullock Ocean's movie.
It was surprisingly good.
I'm not going to lie. I really liked it. I thought it was really good, and I'll tell you why. They never even once alluded to the fact that they were all doing this as women. And it was girl power.
Blah, blah,
we
blah.
don't need men, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They never made it about that, which is why I liked it. Because it was just like watching, a regular Ocean's movie, but with just a different cast. And it had nothing to do with the fact that they were women. And I really appreciated that in that storytelling. And I feel like this is what it's going to be for the new Doctor Who, where they can do it in a way that alludes to I'm a woman now, that's fine. But then I want them to leave it at that and not carry it over. And make it a big deal or make it an issue,
It didn't matter that he was a man before.
Right.
He wasn't hanging on that.
No.
I'm the Doctor because I'm a man. I'm a man. It didn't matter.
And actually, I don't know if you know this, but Chris Chibnall, when he knew who the Doctor was, he knew who he was going to line up for his writers for this season. He didn't tell him that it was a she. So, literally... in scripts,
they wrote it
still
for a
says
man.
he. Yeah.
Well, and that's another thing that I want to bring up too. They did the same thing for the movie Alien. Sigourney Weaver's character was supposed to be it was written for a man.
Oh.
And then they cast Sigourney Weaver as it, and that's why that character is so fucking cool and badass.
Yeah, 'cause
and
they were all
everybody
hung up
respects
on it.
her because it was written for a dude. And she played it so well that you didn't even notice she was a woman.
Yeah.
It wasn't about that. It wasn't about that at all.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to see the season 11 premiere in October. Last couple things here. We got an RIP to say that Doctor Who star Jacqueline Pierce died at 74. She was introduced in 85 in a guest role of the two doctors opposite Colin Baker. The episode followed the Sixth Doctor and his former companion, Jamie McCrimmon, team up once again to save the second Doctor from a nefarious plot. So it was a sixth and second Doctor story.
That's sad.
And she's passed away, so that is very sad. Rest in peace, Jacqueline Pierce. And on the flip side, we have a beloved yet relatively unknown Doctor Who companion making her return. Sheridan Smith will return as the eighth Doctor's companion, Lucy Miller, in a new audio drama from Big Finish. So again, I love that they do that.
Yeah, that's
they
awesome.
It makes me want to see
audio dramas.
It makes me want to listen to them. Actually, the more that they do these different things, and knowing that they actually take time to try to get the actual Doctor or actors or as close to it as possible.
Yeah, that's cool.
Locked in. So cool to see the eighth Doctor doing some more stuff. Obviously, Paul McGann has done a ton of Big Finish audio. So to bring her story back, and you'll need to watch the movie. Maybe that'll be our plan for episode 4. We'll get the movie going. And
oh yeah, we have to watch that terrible movie.
Yes.
Ooh, the Liquid Master.
That's fine. I'll do it.
Yeah.
The
It's
Liquid
good.
Master.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
That's the episode title. The Liquid Master.
The Liquid Master.
Definitely.
Probably
We haven't
need
even
some
talked
liquid
about the
libations to get through that movie.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the movie yet.
Well, we'll save. Yeah, that's true. We'll save it for the Liquid Master, or we'll save it for the Eighth Doctor's
We'll
movie.
save
Not the. Maybe we'll call this episode "Dinosaurs in the Fireplace."
Whoa.
Sounds excessive. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we'll think about that.
Is there anything else we wanted to discuss before we get out of here?
No, I think we pretty much covered it today.
Yeah, and even though we thought we would speed through this when we actually went about our typical episode length of an hour, so I'm impressed by that, you guys. Thank you.
Well, there's always plenty to talk about when it
yeah.
comes to Doctor Who.
Yep.
Totally. It's like opening Pandora's box.
On that note.
You're a dork.
Pandora's box. Anyways, folks, you can check out GallifRadio on the Journey into Comics network at journeyintocomics.com, where you can get all the different shows on our network. Journey into Comics, Poor News, Poor Entertainment, Kids for Sale, Foodies Watching Movies, Journey into Wrestling, Podcastrophe, This Show Gallifradio, Kids for Sale, Brews with Dudes, The Best of the Week Show, Adulting Ain't Easy. I said
Are
adulting.
You repeating them now?
I meant to say adulting ain't easy in the Wednesday slot, and I said Kids for Sale.
Yeah,
and
you did.
repeated it. So my bad.
That's okay.
You can also go to our Patreon at patreon.com/Journey into Comics. Give us $1 for early access and exclusive content, meaning as soon as the episode's up and recorded and ready to go, you get to hear it before anybody else, except for today where we're a little bit late. Oops. But that's all right. It's going to be fun.
Adulting ain't easy, guys.
It's not. Adulting ain't easy.
Sometimes you're late on the podcast.
It's true. Yeah. It happens. That's life. Veronica, Sarah, thank you guys both so much for joining me again.
No problem.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry, I got tongue tied. I was like,
okay.
wait,
what
do I say?
It's just podcasting. It happens sometimes. Well, I think that's going to do it for episode 3 of GallifRadio. As always, I'm Nate.
I'm Veronica.
Sarah.
And we will see you guys later.